Welcome back, guys. We got some breaking news today. Two-time Pro Bowl DK Metcalf has requested a trade.
Here we go.
So, my thoughts on it, I think you go to a team like Green Bay, or the Seahawks. No, not the Seahawks. Maybe like the Lions. I'd like a wide receiver too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I could see, possibly a team like Green Bay. There's been rumors coming out of the Combine week about Green Bay already inquiring about him. But there's other teams out there who need a wide receiver. You look at a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They clearly need to add another wide receiver to their core. Even a team like San Francisco, they just moved on from Debo, so they should be or will be probably in the market for another wide receiver. So, my question is, what would it take to get a guy like Debo, right? He's clearly a top tier wide receiver. Is he, top 5 in the league? Probably not. Top 10? There's probably an argument with that. He brings the size you're looking for. I believe he's 6'4", 215-ish. So he's got the size, he's got the ability to get downfield, he's got great foot speed.
Yeah, I would say he's top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd put him in the top 10. He's probably, I wouldn't rank him as high as top 5, but he's certainly, he would be a number 1 on a number of teams out there in this league. So what kind of season did he have here, Bryson? Let's take a look at that real quick. So he graded out on the season at his position, 74.3, receiving grade of 75. So he had 992 yards on the year, so just shy of 1,000. And receiving touchdowns on the season, he had 5. So I always like to take a snapshot back a couple years here, right? So as I mentioned, he's 6'3", 229, 27 years old. So a lot of good football ahead for him. Want to pull up the 23 season, see where he graded out there, give us a better picture of where he's been the last couple years. So he graded out an 80 overall at his position in 23, 82.3 receiving grade. He had 1,114 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns that season. So he's a fantastic wide receiver, right? And he fits the mold. I'm thinking, specifically Green Bay, Bryson, we're missing Christian Watson, need to replace him with a big body. DK certainly, his physical ability certainly mirrors what we were able to do with Watson. I like him a lot. What would I be willing to give up for him? I don't want to part ways with our first-round pick and one of our young wide receivers. I don't like that as much. Maybe if it was a round 2 plus maybe a Dontavian Wicks, I like that. I would like to hang on to Dobbs if possible. I'm a big fan of Romeo Dobbs. Wicks, he's got a lot of talent. He's just very inconsistent, right? He gets the case of the drops. He's a lot. He was much better on the second half of the season, but I just feel like overall at this point, Dobbs is probably the more consistent, more reliable wide receiver. So if we were to have to move on from a younger wide receiver...
Give up on Wicks yet, though.
Yeah, I don't want to give up on Wicks. I'm just, saying if we have to move on from one of them between Dobbs and Wicks, to pull a guy like DK Metcalf, I would probably want to keep Dobbs and move on from Wicks. So certainly don't want to give up a first-round pick. I don't know if he warrants that. Maybe the market drives it to that, depending on how many teams would be interested in a trade for him. But we'll see. I'd certainly love to see him in Green Bay this year. As we've mentioned before, we need to address that. I'd like to get another big body wide receiver in there. There are a couple guys available in this year's draft class. You look at the Higgins from Iowa State. I love him a lot. He would be a potential option to plug and play in there. You just know what you're getting with DK, right? So that's why he would make a ton of sense to go after if we're able to get him in there. So he did request a trade today, and this came, I believe the news on this came just hours after the Seattle Seahawks release Lockett as well. So a lot of things shaking up in Seattle. But free agency officially begins on Monday, so there's a lot going on right now. So we'll keep you updated as we learn more. And Bryson, as always,
it's Go Pack Go.